The November jobs report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics released this week showing some staggering numbers in unemployment. For Black women, the unemployment has surged to roughly 7.5%, outpacing the broader workforce and sounding an alarm for the U.S. labor market.
Black women have lost almost 300,000 jobs, while men have gained 600,000 jobs. You're talking about a swing of almost 1 million jobs. That is not a slowdown. That is a redistribution of opportunity.
As most people would say, listen, these aren't 700,000 women who are just missing or electing to leave the workforce. Most of them were fired or pushed out, right? Is that what you would say?
Absolutely. That's exactly what we've seen. So you're really talking about not a personal choice. You're talking about solution.
So why are Black women, you think, being affected at this level? And do you think that it seems that they're being specifically targeted?
I can tell you is that the numbers are staggering. When we look at Black women, over 600,000 have been economically sidelined.
There are rising unemployment rates of Black women, a canary in the coal mine, an economic indicator for everyone else. Why is that? What should anyone else glean from these numbers we're seeing?
Because Black women sit at the intersection of gender and race, they tend to be the first impacted, but they really are the signal for the entire economy that their labor force, it doesn't just impact women. Their forced labor force exits this year alone have cost us $9.2 billion in GDP growth. So you're talking about impacts to Social Security, Medicare, the solvency of banks, the solvency of insurers. This will impact everybody. The unemployment rate overall for the latest jobs report was 4.5%. If you look at it for Black women, it's actually 7.5%, which is 70% higher than what the Fed considers full employment. But if you include the labor force exits of Black women this year, their unemployment climbs to over 10%.
Kanika, what would you say to someone who maybe sees these numbers and says, I don't think that Black women are being targeted. Maybe this is just sort of a coincidence to see this number. Maybe it's their job performance. What would you say to someone who is skeptical in that way?
The data does not vet that out. What the data shows is that Black women are the most educated cohort in the United States. In fact, they are more likely to be underemployed, not because of their own doing, but because they are undervalued in the labor force.
You a danger girl.
All right. Welcome to today's episode of the Wellness for a New Age podcast. I am the Stone, and we are discussing what's happening to Black women in the U.S. in the labor force. The question was posed in this little short video that I just showed of, it appears that Black women are being targeted. Do you believe that Black women are being targeted? The answer to that is a resounding yes. Black women are being targeted as part of the whole plan to quote unquote make America great again, which is basically dismantling the progress and the gains achieved from the civil rights movement, integration, and the allowance of Black Americans in the greater economy that came along with the civil rights legislation of 1964. Black women are definitely being targeted. And I would say Black women need to really stop and put a lot of thought towards what their next steps are. The fact of the matter is, this country is in collapse. And it's a collapse that's not going to be stopped. It can't be stopped. Not only can it not be stopped because of how deep we are into the collapse, And it can't be stopped because of the dire economic situation that this country is in right now, holding $39 trillion in debt and adding a 3 billion to it a night. My belief, personally, I believe it cannot be stopped because what's happening is a mass spiritual event that is unfolding along the lines of karmic energy and karmic debt that this country has. I don't believe there's any way to stop what's happening in America right now. I don't think there's a way to stop it. I think right now the best thing that people can be doing is figuring out how they're going to survive what's coming. And whether they want to attempt to survive what's coming by staying in this country. I think that's where the focus needs to be right now, people, especially for you, Black women. And as a Black woman myself, I can tell you all of my efforts right now are on surviving, surviving this collapse, and figuring out the best option to protect my family and continue my bloodline through what's happening and what's coming. I think that we're about to experience a massive shedding of life, human life on this planet, with this great reset that is happening globally and is goaled to be fully in place by 2030. We're a few weeks out from 2026, so basically we're looking at 4 years that we have of this transition, this reset, and this putting in place of a new global system. I've known of this for years, for well over a decade at this point, that this time would be coming, that this point would be coming. I thought that I was preparing for it. I really did. Preparing for this time has been foundational to how my husband and I have moved in the world over the past 10 years, I'd say. But God has a way when we make plans. What do they say? You make plans and God laughs. Well, I would say he, I'll say this. I doubt he was laughing, but he definitely has had a different set of plans for myself and my family than than ours. And just like so many other people, we're at this point in time where we too are scrambling to survive and save our family. And that is our main goal. There has to be an awareness and a reckoning, a waking up to what's going on. I think we're too far gone now to keep our heads buried and to have a Pollyanna view about all of this. And I'm trying to be real careful to not project my own personal trauma and what I've gone through over the past 3 years of not being able to get another job, of losing my own consulting firm, um, of losing everything, having my whole financial life implode. I don't want to get on here and project that onto others because I understand that everyone is living in their own paradigm. And while I might have been experiencing the worst time financially in my life, I know that there are plenty of people that are doing quite well. And they're doing better than they've ever done. And their future's so bright, they're wearing shades day and night. It's so bright. I say kudos to those people. I say, if I give a thanks, a grace, a prayer of thanks that things are going for you that way. I would like to be in that position myself, but at this very moment, um, I'm not. So I'm talking to all of you out there who feel like you're not either. You're not in the best financial position you've ever been in. Your future, you are hoping and working for it to be bright, but right now the uncertainty is very high. And I'm talking to those of you who hopefully have not really hit hard times, have not experienced that. You're doing okay right now. But I'm including you in this talk because now is definitely the time for you to take action to ensure that that continues. The United States is collapsing economically, socially, structurally. We are a collapsing country. And considering that we currently hold the world's reserve currency, but the world is in the process of a great reset of the world currency, I don't think it's too far off to assume that during this reset, while the dust is settling from everything, all the changes, we will probably be hurting the most here in this country. I feel like that's very evident now. I mean, I read the news reports. I'm on social media watching the videos. I see millions of people across the United States struggling. I see families living in hotels or storage units. Um, I see people, some of them making more money than they've ever made in their whole lives, and they can barely survive. They can barely feed themselves. They can barely pay their bills. They can barely keep a roof over their heads. That's because our currency is basically being printed away, right? The inflation and the constant printing of our currency, it's lost its value, and that's what we're going through right now, basically. The debasing of our currency. That's what we're going through, along with all the other societal ills that America is facing right now. As part of that great reset, there have been groups of people planning for this time to take over and to implement the America they think America should be. And that's what MAGA is all about, right? The MAGA campaign, Make America Great Again. That is definitely what they want to do. Their form of greatness again. And that starts with Project 2025, which is the playbook of how they will roll back what we have here in the US, dismantle all the gains made, and set us up into a religious authoritarian state where we are highly and heavily controlled and surveilled, living under an extreme loss of rights, of civil rights and civil liberties, and our personal wealth. And if you look at the numbers, it's pretty clear that yes, Black women are targeted. I'm going to pull up this article. Let me see if I can find this article, hopefully. Let's see here. Well, in this article here is talking about the 10 ways the administration attacks civil rights in year one. This is an excellent article that outlines the things that have happened, that have taken place under the Trump administration. And I want to read off to you some of them before I get to this article. Well, first of all, let's look at all the public service jobs that were slashed, right? The shutdown of the Department of Education, or the dismantling of the Department of Education that's in the process. Nearly 30% of education, the Department of Ed employees are Black. Okay. They took their first big hit in January. Second after that, the Department of Health and Human Services. Mass layoffs in January, when Elon Musk and his Doge went in and decided that they were going to clean, quote unquote, clean things up. 20% of the Department of Health and Human Services are Black Americans. Again, they took a huge hit in job loss in January. The third department that was hit hard, Department of Veterans Affairs, also underwent major cuts to a staff that is 24% Black American. Number 4, the ending of DEI and affirmative action programs that took place. We know that DEI mainly benefited white women and white men. But the benefits that we did gain from that, and I think that we were the second least demographic to benefit from DEI, but it still affected us all the same. With the dismantling of DEI and affirmative action legislation, along with that, how that was all done together, the unemployment for Black women is nearly 7.5% now. And when you add in all of those job slashes to the public service sector of the economy this year, the real unemployment numbers for Black women is well over 10%. Over 10%. And as the video pointed out, Black women, of course, are the first ones to feel it, as we're sitting at the intersectionality of race and gender. So when slashes happens, when jobs are lost, when positions are cut, when funding goes down, it's Black women that are generally the first ones who are affected by that and to feel it. And that's what's happening now in this situation. Now, while Black women are the first to feel it and we are being hit the hardest and feeling it the most at this moment, this will not just stay with Black women, as we can see. This is a signal of the whole greater economy, which is rapidly falling apart. Here are 10 ways this article points out that the Trump administration has rolled back civil rights for individuals, and how they're undermining the protections for most of the vulnerable demographics in America, Black women included in that. Number 1, promoting a white nationalist agenda, which y'all are on here, you should join me tomorrow, Thursday evening. I'm having a webinar to break down the whole Christian nationalist connection to what's going on, showing how that movement and the leaders of that movement are really driving the ship that we're all sinking on right now. Okay. Slashing civil rights enforcement, revving up the deportation machine, banning Muslims, attacking voting rights, shredding LGBT protections, encouraging police abuses, reviving debtors' prisons, undermining public education, eroding the rights of students with disabilities. And now, of course, I know that there are many of us with different opinions on certain current events, including the immigration issue, because one of the things in the media, uh, there was not a lot of talk on how the working class blacks in this country were affected by this mass illegal uh, migration into the U.S. They never really want to talk about that, but that was a real thing. So while I understand that most people probably have mean no harm against immigrants, I do get and understand why there is a large number of Black Americans who feel very strongly about the immigration process and weren't necessarily against the deportation of illegal immigrants. I get that. But the rights of cutting the rights of those people, deporting those people, and the tactics that are being used to do that are tactics that, as we agree for it to be used against those people because of whatever our belief system is, because they are illegals, because they're not citizens, because they broke the law, whatever we're agreeing to that is okay to be used against them, we're only agreeing for them, the powers that be, to use those same tactics against us. And that's basically what they're doing. They are putting in place and legalizing all of these tactics, including the rollback of civil rights and civil liberties protection. And we're going along with it, a huge amount of us to a great deal, because we see it as being only for this one specific group of people. But at the end, it really is for all of us. I think that Black women, more than any other demographic right now in this country, needs to be making serious plans as to how they're going to handle this collapse. And you need to be doing a serious review of if you think you can survive this collapse. Do you have the resources needed to survive this collapse? Because you do need resources to survive what's coming. Not obviously the material resources, right? There's a growing food famine that's happening in this country, that's coming to this country. Do you have the resources of backed up and stocked food to get you through that? How about housing? Is your housing secured? As rents are shooting up and people are losing their jobs, evictions are increasing as well. And if I recall correctly, Black women are the number one demographic in evictions across the country for the past 3 years. So, how is your food and water resources? How is your housing resource? Is that secure? Do you have a community? Because it's going to take a community to get through what's coming. It's going to take people that you can depend on, that you are able to work with, that you are able to survive conflict with. that you can barter with, that you can build with, that you can protect each other? Do you have a community behind you to help you get through this? And these are the questions that we need to be asking, not only because the country is collapsing, but because the country is changing fundamentally, and it will no longer be the US that we've all known. I think very important part in all of this is coming to understand that and accept that. And with that whole thing of it not being the US that we've known, that includes the lack of civil rights and civil liberties protection. That includes an increase of power to white supremacists and those who want to oppress Black people. That also includes a restructuring of the law that allows for more people to go under basically a prison system. It's now illegal to be homeless in this country. In many areas, it is illegal for you to live out of your RV unless you have a lease or a contract with an RV park. They are rapidly bringing back debtors' prisons. How much debt are you carrying? Are you able to service your debt? What if you lose your job? Then what? There are so many things to consider and possibilities about what's going on right now. But I'm telling you, the first and foremost group that needs to be figuring this out and thinking about what their options are and what they can do are Black women. So far, over 400,000 Black women have been taken out of the workforce over the past 4 months. I should probably say let's just say since this new administration has taken office. 400,000 Black women, 700,000 women altogether that are no longer in the public sector, in the workforce. And as the video pointed out, that's going to affect everyone. It might seem like it's just those people who have lost those jobs that are going to be suffering, but that's not the case at all. The suffering is going to continue to spread rapidly across multiple demographics in this country, making everything collectively worse. And again, putting the question to you, can you survive what's coming? Can you survive things getting worse? Do you even want to? If there is an option for you to go through the global reset in another location that would better serve you, your healthy mindset, your physical health, your financial health, your overall well-being, your children's well-being, your bloodline, the future of you building or having something for yourself and your family financially. If there is an option for you to relocate to a place that all those things are still viable, especially if you do not believe that those things are viable for you here in the US. Well, now is the time for you to think about that and start to make some real moves. Many economists are saying that by quarter two of 2026, that things are going to be rapidly falling apart in this country economically. We don't have much time. You've got to start making decisions now. And I do mean now. All right. This was just a little check-in. As we are focused on helping people to achieve body, mind, and soul wellness in the age of Aquarius. And right now we are focusing on our Exodus to Wellness series with the understanding of what's happening in the US as the country collapses, and encouraging everyone that they must take care of those base needs: your shelter, your food, your safety, before you can continue upwards of the hierarchy to your wellness, your holistic overall wellness. You got to take care of those base needs. And those base needs are under attack in a collapsing country with a collapsing economy. So go to the website, wellnessfornewage.com. Check out some of our cool little trinkets that we have for sale in our shop. Astro-centered swag. And in January, our best-selling mineral supplement, Pluto the Regenerator, will be back. We'll be taking orders again. The next production of that will begin in January. So we'll begin taking pre-orders for that, pre-sales. But yeah, go to the website. Go to wellnessfornewage.com. Check out the Exodus to Wellness program. See the services that we offer to help you put together a plan of how you will survive the collapse of America, and the plan of how you will continue on if you are on a current journey of wellness, or how to create a plan for wellness for you and yours. All right, till the next time.